Live from my apartment, it's Rob has a podcast, and now here's the guy who, if this is not, hold on, that I'm hearing myself on the speaker that's right over here, so this is going to be a deal breaker. Let's restart the podcast in 5 seconds, okay?
Are we being pranked? I'm not sure.
Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob has a podcast, and now here's the guy who's going to blame the technical difficulties on Corey. I'm kidding. It's Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rob has a podcast. Excited to be back with you here on a Sunday night to talk about Bowie Jane's nominations and everything that came out of that. We've got a great panel that nobody's going to break up this group here tonight. We are excited to be back with Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm feeling great about Bowie Jane. I feel like bringing her to the final three is a great call.
Yeah, we got to. Okay. It's the pointy end of the season, Taran.
The pointy end. Yeah. Avoid that one.
For sure. Okay. Excited to be back here to talk a little Big Brother, of course, with my co-host on the Suits Yourself Daily Suits Recap Podcast. It's Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
Hi. I'm good, Rob. I'm happy to be back, Taran. Thank you for having me. And I am very excited to talk about the reign of the queen of the HOH herself, Miss effing Bowie Jane. I'm sorry, y'all. This has all built up to this moment. We really got to hold Rob's feet to the fire on this one. Bowie Jane is here to stay,
Please. And
I'm getting into it.
Okay. All right. And let's do it here tonight. And of course, here with us, look that Aysha wasn't supposed to be here. She was just watching the Cowboys game, and she said, "Hey, quick, I need something else to do tonight." And so with us, Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Win or lose, no matter how we're doing, I'm a loyal fan. So no matter how many people in the chat want me to take off my jersey, I will wear it proudly. We will have our bad days, but we will also have our good. Okay.
Okay. All right. And so we're ready to go here on a Sunday night. I saw we're going to be a little delayed, only a little bit of a 5-minute delay for the football. So we appreciate that, Mr. B. So thank you so much. We'll take your questions here in the chat as well as we get going here on a Sunday night. Taran, you were saying before we came on, you thought this was a great episode tonight.
I did. I just feel like it was just well told in terms of how things played out. It just like it's rare for me that we get an episode that I feel actually encapsulates the events of the feeds in a way that is genuinely compelling and relatively thorough. It felt so good to be able to get the perspective of pretty much every person in the house, the various pairs of people, the various motivations behind each pitch for what they wanted Bowie to do, and how Bowie was taking all of that in, had her own agenda. There was no fake, oh, well, what if I do this? Or what if I do this? It was just all actual things that were happening, actual pitches, agendas, and just told in a really interesting way that made me feel like, look at all this stuff that's happening, and who knows what the result is going to be.
And look, we were able to get all of this stuff because the HOH comp was on Thursday.
Yeah,
easy.
That's a win for all of us. I liked it too. I like the idea that, normally we really count on Taran and the live feed updaters to go in and listen to these conversations and really try to extrapolate, what these alliances look like, who would target who, based off of these tiny conversations that sometimes we never see on the live show. And so to get this, it was kind of like watching the feeds. You got to see this pair express exactly who they wanted, and then they got in the diary room and they said why. And then you see the other pairs try to push their agenda. You see Blue being Blue, saying what she would want. And then you get the person at the center of it all, Bowie Jane, the queen, sitting there saying, I wonder which way I should go. Should I go with these people? Should I go with these people? And am I being manipulated? And that's my favorite thing she's ever said. So many times we see people just making the decision. We see the puppet master pulling the strings and all this other stuff. But we rarely see someone say, yes, that is a good move for you. But what is it for me? How long do I have to just stop down and see if this is an okay thing for me to do for my game? And I appreciated that from Bowie Jane because we've not gotten any of that from her ever since, prior. Since they walked in the house, we've never known all the way what Bowie Jane would do based on her own words. It's always been through someone else's eyes or, like I said, just speculation. But seeing her really sitting here with the power and talking us through it, it was a little refreshing. I'll give her that.
Did you feel like that Bowie Jane was kind of like an afterthought, though, in the episode? We saw like her in the very beginning of the episode, and then we got everybody else, and then we just only circled back to her at the end.
I didn't hate that, though, because, again, like we don't really know a lot about Bowie Jane, but we know a lot of these other players and their standpoint. So going back to Bowie Jane was a very interesting way to tell this story because everybody was talking about, oh, who's going to control the HOH this week? What can I get Bowie Jane to do? What can I get Bowie Jane to do? Can I sway them? Can I sway them? Then they get to Bowie Jane, and Bowie Jane's like, I'm actually not going to let any of you sway me. I'm going to look at all the possibilities and make a decision that's good for me. So I think it worked for the story that we were presented today. Now, whether or not she is later swayed, that is neither here nor there. This episode was not about that. And so personally, I would love to see some swaying going from Bowie Jane, but we'll get to that later on, I'm sure.
Okay. Breaking news from the chat. Eric says, Rob, she had 15 diary rooms. Oh my God. Did Bowie Jane double up her diary rooms tonight in one episode?
Probably triple.
Close.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, because she was only second fewest than Kirsten. So
Well, not anymore.
Is that what the Zingbot should have said? Bowie, you have as many confessionals as Kirsten.
Now that would be a good zing. That would really set someone off.
What?
I think the great thing about this episode is that I come onto these recaps and I've usually got a whole host of information, extra context from the feeds that I'm going to give you. And usually I'm only going to give you like the most relevant bits. I genuinely, like, apart from somewhat spoilery things for the future, there's not really anything else for me to tell you. They actually gave you every single player's perspective, their motivation, the reasoning behind it, what they did, and what the result was in this time frame. There's nothing else for me to say in terms of stuff that wasn't in there.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe it'll be a short recap tonight. Okay. You saw it all. But all right, I guess let's just talk through some of those motivations that we got here, where there is some talk to try to throw. We see a contingent of people trying to throw Blue and Cam onto the block. There's Corey and America. Then people are being pushed on the block. Really, nobody's pushing for Cirie and Felicia, the ultimate nominations, who do go up on the block. And ultimately, we'll see what happens with those. Aysha, what would you think about seeing everybody's pitches for Blue, or is it for Bowie Jane?
I thought it was a big reflection of no matter what, you have to have other people in this game. Like Bowie Jane has not had power, like has not been HOH up until this point. And you can't have your own agenda without having people to vote the way you want, or other people have to be motivated to want what you want. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters besides the people in the game, because people have just been using Bowie Jane as a piece in this game. And now that she's in power, they're still viewing her as a piece. They're viewing her as the piece that can make the decision. But you saw even in that scene where Cam walks in, Corey's like, oh yeah, we're discussing noms. He's like, are one of you secretly HOH? Like, why are y'all down here discussing noms without the HOH? And it's because that's been Bowie's role this whole game. So it's like, now that she finally has power, now that she is the one person in the house that wants Cirie out and puts Cirie on the block, it's like, okay, moving forward, how can you execute that? Because literally not a single person came to you and said, you got to put up Cirie.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a little bit more of the flashback to Mimi leaving the house, where, I was positive on Thursday night after they butchered the, blocking of when Mimi says, and you, and you, and you, and we would have got back and heard everybody's reaction to that on a night when I felt like that they were flashing back to things. We didn't get any of that, especially considering that Bowie was one of the 3 names that Mimi claimed was working together with America and Corey. Taran, are you surprised that we didn't spend any time on that in this episode?
Not really, because so basically what they had to do is that they did have this little mini segment where they talked about what Mimi said from the perspective of like Bowie, Corey, and America, who were like, we don't know what she was talking about, because it was something that was on the live show. They couldn't hide it, but it was a lie. It was fake information. Mimi just made it up. So like they usually wouldn't show something like that because they don't want to confuse the viewers. So they had to show this little segment of them disproving it because it wasn't actually true.
And it was a bad lie. It was a bad lie. That's another reason why it really doesn't hit the way it should, because even when America's talking about it, she said, so me and Corey we're gonna use Felicia to do our dirty work. But like everyone in the house is looking at Felicia as probably one of the people who at least likely, aside from Bowie, look at least likely to win a challenge. So it's like, of all the people who could win challenges for them to do their dirty work, would it be more like a Cam, a Jag, a Matt, people who have won recent challenges that are more physical like these challenges are in the end? It's like Felicia won HOH a month and a half ago, y'all. She's not going to they're not going to surround their plan by using her as their striker, And so, yeah, it was like, that was a bad lie. And then on top of that, Bowie Jane ends up winning the HOH. So it's like, had they lost, people would probably be like, yep, and now we know who to target because those 3 people are working together. Thanks, Mimi. But since they won, it's like, you better not say that. You better not bring it back up. You might want to lay low in case they really are coming for people, in which case you could be next. So I'm not shocked that they didn't give us too much of that.
I feel like that we're really starting to see Matt and Jag, the Minutemen, being presented like in a very powerful light on the show, and sort of like, okay, what does this duo want? We saw them talking about how they feel like it would be better for them to have Cam go out. They are not concerned about Corey and America. People are mad at them, and Corey has no power if it's not for them. They don't really consider Corey to be a threat. Taran, what do you think about their thought process here coming into this episode?
I think it's an interesting thought process. I like that we're focusing more on them because they are basically running the game right now. I especially like that we flashed back to Jag talking to Cam and explaining how he manipulated Cam into being okay with essentially going against what he had wanted that whole week, both with talking him out of backdooring Corey, but also with then changing his target from Felicia to Mimi. And the ease with which he did it by just using Corey as a scapegoat was really effective, which then ties into why he feels like Corey staying in the game continues to benefit him. And then getting their conversation about Cam and how they can't really trust him, which makes a lot of sense given the events of the previous week. Maybe a little bit of extra context here is that when Cam was pitching for Corey to be backdoored, he was talking to Matt a lot about like, hey, Jag is not with this. At some point, we're gonna have to look at Jag. He's made comments like that here and there. And his relationship with Matt and Jag has never been that great. Obviously, he tried to evict Jag, and then Jag helped evict him. Or they basically evicted each other at that point. They both came back. And Cam has always had a bad read on Matt. He really underestimated Matt for a long time, and then when he found out that Matt wasn't doing what he wanted, he kind of insulted Matt and said, I thought you were smarter than that, which Matt really took personally and never really came back to Cam. They were always playing him with this fugitive stuff. And so when this opportunity arrives for them to take a shot at Cam and just continue on with the spot that they feel comfortable with, between all of these other situations going on, Blue going after Corey still having to go after Blue, Matt having this connection to Cirie, and the fact that they are now by far the 2 strongest physical competitors in the house. There's a lot of reason for why this can work for them. There's definitely still a risk, but the fact that it wouldn't even have to be one of them using their HOH to do it makes it all the more appealing because they can both compete in the following HOH.
I don't know. Am I crazy? Like when I look at it, like I kind of feel like that. Okay, Cam. They say that he's getting closer with Blue, but is he really coming for them? I guess that he is maybe the one person who might be able to beat those two guys in competitions. But I think it's much more likely that Corey or America does something to take out Matt or Jag than ultimately Cam being the one who ruins their games.
I mean, I could see a worry where, say, Blue wins the HOH next week. After, say, Felicia or Cirie leaves, she takes out Corey. Where does Cam go from there? Is he going to go after Blue and America and Felicia or Cirie? I don't think so. I think if Cam wins that next HOH, he's going straight for Matt or Jag. He's going to try and get Matt to be okay with it, probably, but obviously Matt wouldn't be. And we know that Cam likes to take big shots, and he's unafraid to do so. And he sometimes won't even tell people ahead of time that he's going to do it. And so why leave that variable in the game when you can basically guarantee that any physical competition is automatically won by you or your closest ally? They still have Bowie. They still have Corey, who has to deal with Blue. There's just a lot of reasons. It's still a risk to some degree. And I was saying all week last week, if one of Matt or Jag is the HOH, I think they shouldn't take the shot. But because it's Bowie, it does kind of make sense for me. The calculus kind of works. So I do think this is a solid play. It's not one that's like a slam dunk by any means, but it's definitely the risk I would take, especially knowing what I know about Cam.
And there's always that fear of like, okay, if we're having the thoughts to get rid of him, then we know that he has to at some point have the thought. So it's like we want to get him before we get got.
Yeah, it's like this is a good move for them. But Bowie Jane probably, should be weary of this move. We've seen her talk about it in this episode, but every week, Cam has never came after Bowie Jane. They felt like they've been on the same side of this thing, especially with the red thing. She's just never been on his radar. So their idea of pushing Cam is like, why would she do that?
Yeah.
But other people like a Blue or somebody else, I could see them trying to make that work. But the Cam play, it's a risky one from them for sure. But if they can get it to happen, then yeah, it pays off dividends.
Yeah. We saw where ultimately Bowie talks to Matt and Jag, and they're pushing to go after Cam. And Bowie Jane ultimately says about Cam, she can't go after him because
this is not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not.
It's not at all. I do like that we're getting Jag's DRs, right? I feel like it's helping me see Jag's game in a better light. Because watching Jag on the feeds, like even just watching like this conversation, I'm like, Jag has no finesse. Like it's so obvious. But
he's like the diary room spokesperson for the Minutemen.
Yeah, he is. I feel like he's doing a good job articulating like his intentions behind these conversations, what they want, what their plan is, which I feel it's very effective in just like, cutting to that scene and seeing how he's doing it. Because they're trying to present it like, oh, Bowie, you're the one making the decision. She says Cirie and Felicia, and he's like, but
yeah,
not quite.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitting that Jag is the diary room spokesman for the Minutemen because that's where Matt wants him to be in the game too, and it is where he is in the game. I mean, something about that conversation between Matt and Bowie before Jag walked in was that this is how Matt operates. He goes, well, some people will want you to maybe target Cam. I'm not one of those people, but that's what some people will say. Where's Jag, by the way? He's supposed to be here. Anyway, what some people's arguments would be is that X, Y, and Z. And then when Jag finally walks in, Jag starts making the hard pitch and Matt starts nodding along. That's where Matt likes to be. He doesn't want to be the person in front. And so it's very interesting that like that's what we're getting in the show version of it too, like the edit and who's talking in the diary room.
Yeah, and it's because Jag ain't really got nothing else going on either. You know, like of course he cares about the whatever they are, the
Minutemen.
Yeah, that. Of course he cares about that because that's his alliance. But Matt kind of has the rest of the house sold up a little bit. Like, I mean, we see Cirie talking about in this episode, like, I really want to trust Matt. So we know if any of Felicia and Cirie get power,
Right.
they're probably not going to come after Matt. But Jag, Jag can go. And so, yeah, he's really leaning on this, like, oh, yeah, we got it all sold up here because that's what he can speak the most confidently about in the house.
Yeah. While Jag is planning out the Minutemen merch and the Minutemen social media accounts, like Matt also is doing a lot of other stuff in the game.
Matt's thinking about like the Fields family dinner that he wants to get invited to.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if we once seen Matt say it's Minutemen time,
right?
I don't think we have.
He don't care. You know, I think Matt and Bowie Jane both got really good edits this episode for people who are like potential winners of the game. Bowie Jane, if she was anybody else, like if we've
moved
from her,
Bowie Jane into
no,
potential winners of the game.
I said edit. Don't you do that. What I'm saying is that had this been any other season, it was anybody else, and we had seen anything from her prior to this moment, we'd be like, oh, she's been laying low. Oh, so she knows what to do. So she threw that HOH. So now she knows that she has to keep calm. She's good with the boys. She's, you know, she's not loving the brown sugar babe. So we're gonna put Felicia and Cirie on the block. She's gonna knock out somebody who really wasn't like gonna get any power to take her out anyway. And then she can fade back in the background. Her story is writing itself. It's just that it started writing itself today. And I think that that is probably like the coolest thing about the Bowie Jane storyline. It's kind of the Matt storyline. It's kind of the Jag storyline, in which Matt gets a lot more credit than Jag will. But Jag, even, it makes his game look like something you could actually talk about now because he actually understands where he is in the game. Whereas for the first month and a half, he just had no clue.
Yeah. All right, Taran, go back to something Chappell said about how Bowie Jane's throwing the comp, that we got a different backstory of a reasoning of 27 minutes in the episode tonight than what you had said she had said in the live feeds. Are we buying the diary room explanation from Bowie Jane?
You know, it's always hard to say. Her explanation on the feeds was that she thought what they meant was the time that Jared was out of the house before he came back in as a zombie, and then like
which I thought made sense, that how you retold what she had said.
I mean, it was a very convincing lie what she said, if it was a lie. So it's so hard to say because people lie in the diary room about whether they threw a comp all the time, whether they like even mean to or not. Sometimes people on the feeds say I threw that comp, and then the episode after they said on the feeds they threw the comp, they're saying I tried my hardest because that's what they need for the story of the episode. So it's so hard to know. I'm inclined to believe that she's telling the truth in the diary room in this particular instance, but it could also just be a thing, something else that happens. She might just be embarrassed about it. She said she was incredibly embarrassed about it on the feeds. She said, I was so embarrassed, I didn't even want to read my answer out to Julie. I forced Julie to read it because I was too embarrassed to say it. So that motivation could be why she's now in the diary room saying, oh, that was intentional, actually. I'm not that stupid. So it really, who knows at this point? But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Isn't the proper way to throw this, though, to say 1 million?
Pretty much.
That's what June would tell you.
A low number is definitely not the way to go, you know.
Right.
But I think she should have thrown this before she made it to the sudden death round. You know, maybe get a question wrong before this. I don't know. Especially if she feels like she'd have been fine with Felicia winning it. Because I mean, if she was throwing it, she obviously felt like Felicia wouldn't put her up, or she wouldn't be in any immediate danger. So maybe waiting into that moment wasn't the best thing to do. But I could see where she would be lying to the people in the house saying, oh, yeah, I thought how long it was before Jared, you know, whatever. Because throwing the competitions in the past has been like a mark on your back. Like, you're throwing competitions. You can't even win nothing for me. Then why am I going to keep you in the game? So I think it's a decent lie if it is one.
Okay. So, all right, let's bring Felicia and Cirie into this because they were sort of like a pair. I guess actually, like, this episode was interesting that we had like the multiple factions of the house of like Matt and Jag America and Corey, Cirie and Felicia, Bowie Jane on an island, and then ultimately kind of Cam and Blue, sort of like by proxy together. They got lumped together. So you had like basically Bowie and like these 4 pairs of people. I thought it was interesting that Cirie was like, nah, if Felicia won HOH, I guess that would have been okay. Like I kind of felt like that was, isn't that like one of the better scenarios for Cirie?
No. Cirie, Felicia has probably been throwing Cirie's name around more than many of the people in the house, honestly. I think every other week, Felicia's kind of like, so about Cirie, especially last week, she literally came to people and was like, so why I'm on the block and Cirie just cool? This whole Jerry thing happening, y'all not gonna come for her. So it probably wouldn't be the best for her, but I don't think it's the worst thing for her. But it's definitely, she should be concerned about Felicia. I don't think it's a misread for her to kind of wonder if Felicia would, be a danger to her, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
Because they're frenemies at this point. I mean, I know how many like they've made it like they've made a truce, like, hey, we're never from here on out, we're never gonna go against, but that you never know. That you can't rely on that. So I think Cirie still in her has it in her mind that this is my frenemy. So it could be a good day for me, it could be a bad day.
I think the implication was like, I got slim pickings.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like if Felicia's one of my best outcomes, then that's not great.
Yeah, but Cirie was like, that would have been fine, but Bowie Jane, HOH. Oh my God,
she's not wrong.
And we have to hear about Red so much tonight. Also, remember Red?
No, Cameron does though.
Yeah, that's his legacy of Bowie was like that got left out of the Red vote. That's like one of the most important things happening right now.
What day did Red leave on? Like, why are we still talking about this?
Sometime back in August. I don't know. Listen,
I think it was like 2019.
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah, this is not the greatest thing in the world for Cirie. And Cirie knows that, she's kind of in a tight spot, but if she can make it to the veto or maybe some wild thing happens in the veto, she can try to use her powers of persuasion. But Cirie is a very wise player. She knows that it's not on her to go and try to convince Bowie Jane to put up the people that she wants because she knows Bowie Jane has no reason to trust her. The Red vote was very telling. They could have easily told Bowie Jane, this is what we're doing, but they got cute and they were being sloppy and they like to put people on notice and lead this person out and not to target them, but just to do it, just to put them on an island, just to show them that they don't have the power. They kind of did that with Heisem. They don't know, her and Felicia and Izzy they be power tripping. And so Bowie Jane's never forgot it. Felicia's never forgot it. So Cirie's like, okay, I need someone else to do the dirty work. We got to send in Blue. Okay, never mind. We got to send in Matt. It's like somebody with some sway has to go in and do this dirty work for her, because Cirie doing it on her own is just not going to be effective with someone like Bowie Jane.
Then there are the other 2 pairs, America and Corey and Blue and Cam, the 2 pairs that are vying for the other pair to ultimately go up on the block. As far as Corey and America goes, I feel like that we didn't see so much of them in this episode, but there was a lot of talk about how Corey is this mastermind of the house. Everything is like more talk about Corey as a threat. Taran, is that being overstated? Just how much Corey is doing in the game?
Yeah, and that's what has pleased Jag and Matt so much, is that they have been propping Corey up as this big threat that everybody wants to go after because everyone's so mad at Corey. And they're like, this is great for us because it distracts from the real people who are running the house, which is us. And when Matt goes to Corey and tells him about how Cam, almost backdoored him last week, and how Cam's trying to pit him against Blue, and Corey's like, that Cam, he's trying to make me fight with Blue to distract me from him. But the reality is, Matt and Jag are trying to make sure that Corey is pinned against Blue, and Cam is the figurehead that they're using to be the puppeteer that is the one that Corey needs to be worried about, who's doing that to them. And then they are using Corey in the same way, where they are using Corey as like, yeah, Corey's the one doing all this stuff over here. Cam, focus on Corey. Blue, focus on Corey. Cirie and Felicia, look at everything Corey's doing. And so far it's working. Corey just fits very nicely into this trap. And everyone focuses on him.
Yeah. And we got also where America was trying to tell Bowie Jane to put up Cam and Blue. You got to break up the duos. But Bowie's like, hey, if we're talking about duos, we need to talk about the very famous duo, Comerica.
You guys are Comerica. You even have a name together. Come on.
Come on. You even have the name Comerica.
Yeah, you have the name, not that one though.
Right.
We refuse.
Come on.
I kind of like Comerica.
No.
Chappell, we're not going to the bank.
Right.
But
That
that's
is
what
a
it sounds
bank
like.
name.
I know, but it's official. It's like all a little buttoned up, you know, like, oh yeah, Comerica Incorporated is going to be here. You know, I like it a little bit. But she's not wrong, y'all.
We'll just say AmeriCorey.
Oh no,
Dear
see that's
America, we treat your money like it's family.
Right. They do. You can tell. The slogan writes itself. Whereas AmeriCorey, really? That sounds like a like very like Enron, you know what I'm saying? So you don't want that kind of stuff.
AmeriCorey sounds like Enron?
It really does. It sounds like there's some shady stuff going on.
Here at Comerica, we will wash your money with the washing machine of America's time.
Wow.
One of these sounds like a multi-level
You need to
marketing
launder
scam,
anything.
and it's not Comerica.
Comerica
It's,
is your
the other one.
choice.
Listen, Comerica's my choice. Listen, the idea that America is sitting here talking about how dangerous pears are as a threat, it's just kind of like, I just really want her to just go stand in front of the bathroom mirror and say that again. And just look at herself as she's right. Aysha, come on, man. She knows she's a pear, right? It's like, I think I saw on the feed, they basically Facebook official now. Like we together. So
wait, Chappell, you don't like this? Isn't that good for like America to go in there and she says it with her whole chest of that, hey, I'm that you gotta break up pairs. Like she wasn't being like sheepish about it.
But why not? Why not be sheepish? Come in and say, you need to break up those pairs. You know what? Mimi said that me and you and Corey are running the house. Why don't we? Let's go ahead and take this to the bank. People already
They're
not
already
a pair.
thinking anyway.
Yeah. We're not a pair. We're a throuple now. There is no Comerica. It's Comerica Jane, you know, effing Comerica, you know, give me something, Boerica Regi, you know, give me something else besides Target pairs, because once that pair is gone, your pair is next. Come on now, keep up. That's why Matt and Jag, what?
AmeriCorey.
No. And so once that pair is gone, you're next. And so you want to make sure that she feels like if she's targeting pairs, you're not a pair to her, but you are a pair to her. Everyone sees it.
They're they're the most public pair. And I'm with Jacob Jones. I miss the days when being in a showmance, you did it off in private. Like, you know, all the kisses and cuddles, that's in private, not, oh, I see you in the kitchen, I'm gonna give you a kiss, or it's just like when they're doing that, it makes me feel like you don't care if you go on the block together. Exactly. Like, why is that not a threat to other people? Like, oh, y'all, they're kissing now, they're not putting each other up. That's not a breakup that might happen.
No. I mean, I think this speaks to the segment we got in the beginning of the episode where we saw so many different people. It was like a little baby Andy edit where like Bowie wins HOH and there's a slew of people in the diary room saying, we feel great about Bowie. We want to bring Bowie to the end. We trust Bowie. And that's why you had two different pairs of people pitching completely opposite things to Bowie, because both pairs of people felt comfortable enough with Bowie that they could make this pitch. America makes the pitch of you should target pairs, you should target duos, because she already feels like, well, obviously you're not going to target us because we're good with you. And Blue, who, you know, barely has a relationship with Bowie, is like, yeah, go after Corey in America. And Cam, who feels like he has a final two with Bowie, is like, yeah, I can safely pitch Corey to you. And that's what Bowie does so well in this HOH, something that honestly no other HOH all season has been able to do, which is that she just is able to sit there and listen and hear out what people are saying and then tell them her agenda instead of what like all of the HOHs so far, meaning pretty much Jared and Cameron, have done, which is just, here's my plan, or in Cameron's case, here's my fake plan. Get surprised when the real one comes out, and not listening to a thing that anybody says.
Yeah, I agree. She and she stuck to her guns. She can hear everything else, know that her plan is this, and then say, okay, I hear you. But then next week, when I am not HOH anymore, I now know all the reasons why you shouldn't put me on the block. If Corey and America win, aka Comerica, if they win, then she says, hey, you know, they were trying to get you. And then if the other side wins, she says, you know, they were trying to get you. Because she has all the information now. Prior to this, HOHs just be going out there blind, just doing whatever they wanted to do, muffin hands and all. And then just now we see how it is supposed to be done. You gather information, you rally the people to get the person you want out, and then that person goes, and then you establish a working relationship with the person who stays. HOH 101.
Mm-hmm. But if Bowie Jane was in this position where everybody felt like that she was with her, what was it a mistake to become the HOH at this particular point and show her hand, or she has to if she wants to win the game?
I think she has to if she wants to win the game. I think her biggest issue is perception. We heard that from Jag in the diary room. He said, I think I beat Bowie if we go to the final two. And I think starting to win comps, especially winning them when you can, because you're not always going to be able to, is just going to be so huge. Otherwise, people are going to say she got carried to the end. Even if she does win, even having won this, even making a move here, I think people will still say maybe she was carried to the end. So starting here, I think, is a good place to go from. And I think that the fact that everyone feels good about her means that as long as she's able to navigate successfully, she'll come out of this week with everyone still feeling good about her.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a point I was thinking there is no one Bowie Jane sits next to and actually wins. And now I think she could be Blue, America.
That's it. Listen.
Look, maybe even Corey, if there are enough bitter feelings, if he were to make it that far.
Yeah, probably Corey too. And again, it's just going to come down to the emotional aspect of, how they feel about Corey. And right now they don't love him. Bowie Jane putting the two people on the block who she's the worst off with in the house as well is not a bad move. I think Andy wins HOH and he takes out Jesse. Sometimes there's a piece on the board that's just going to hang around and you don't have to get like your hands too bloody to take them out. Taking out Cirie, someone who you do not actively work with, taking out someone like Mimi, who Bowie Jane wasn't actively working with. Those type of people are the ones you should win, knock them off the board, and then like an alligator of sorts, go back under the water. Rob, you've heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Just take your hit your mark and then go back under the water. The Bowie Gator, Bowie Jane Gator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crackabowie, yeah.
Crackabowie,
yeah.
Crackabowie. Can I?
Yeah.
That sounds like a slur too.
Mm-hmm.
Say that.
Okay.
Crikey.
All right. Crikey. All right. So we had a couple of personal story segments also in this episode tonight. We had Jag talking about how he was recruiting Cam in helping to pull and stretch out his turban, and we got the backstory of what that meant for him. I thought that was a nice segment for Jag. This was a good Jag episode.
Great Jag episode. I think really coming to the forefront in terms of strategy, running the house, and then also getting this great personal content and how it relates to the relationships that he's building. Like if this were a Survivor episode, it'd be like, oh, is Jag gonna win?
Yeah. Yeah. Or go home in this episode. Yeah. His turban is always matching his outfit. So he's got that down.
I really liked his Thursday night fit. The shirt and the turban color was amazing. He does he has great fashion sense. I really like that. Even though he was teaching, this was a teaching moment for Jag with them to show them how he wraps his turban. Even just Matt's like minor point out, like Jag's always got the right, like he has great fashion sense. I feel like that small scene hit on so many points. And it was great for Jag.
I always hate when I feel like some minorities are getting tokenized though. And I really feel like sometimes you could tell us about Jag without having to be like, and he wears a turban. It's like, yes, we know, but like, dang, talk about his swag. Jag is more than that. And I think that when you have more representation, you can start to do that, but you have to start somewhere. And I am loving the Jag content.
We also had the story about Felicia, which really started off about the backstory about how she was in the Air Force, but then we also heard the backstory about her domestic violence that she had faced in the past. We even got the backstory of, I didn't even know we were going to get this. We've seen her take her tooth out at different points. But we got the backstory of what had happened, and the man that she was with at the time had punched her in the face, tried to throw a hot grease on her. And really, aside of Felicia that we haven't seen too much, we've sort of seen sort of like a little bit of like, the goofy Aunt Felicia during the season and ordering all the ingredients and everything and cooking. But this was, a little bit more of like just like her career getting to this point.
Yeah, I love just getting to see this. I love that she made it far enough into the show that they're finally feeling like they want to get us to know her more. And it just goes to show that like these people, they're not just these characters on the screen. They're not just it's not just Felicia who, a lot of people don't see as a threat. A lot of people talk about like she's not going to win a comp, as Bowie says. Like this is this is Felicia we're talking about. Like she's a badass. She's already won one. She came close to winning another. She's not somebody that should be underestimated just because these competitions don't tend to suit her. Like this is somebody who has lived a very full life, who has been through a lot. And has a lot to share. And it was just so gut wrenching to hear this story. But so I'm so happy that we got to hear and that she got to sort of spread the message that she had, which is so cool.
Right. I love her. I just feel like, yeah, we've gotten the fun side, the just the bubbly personality. Like we see like, okay, that's what, like, that's why we love Felicia. And then just to hear her be this vulnerable and share this story just shows us how strong she is and how much she's gone through. And like I have also wondered, I'm like, I wonder, how, knowing that she was in the Air Force, I'm like, I wonder how all that happened. And then to get this segment and to think she could have been gone week 1, or she could have been gone 2 times after that. So we finally get to hear this, and it's just like she's just she has lived a life, and I'm so glad that she's getting to share it with the people around her, and is in a point where she can share it and not like share it as like, this is what I've been through, and it like who I am today, right? Like these are all the like the past challenges I've had, and just to show like the person you see in front of you, like that everything is just she's just such, I'm just so glad we get to see her on this screen, because we can't compare her to anybody we've seen in the past. So yeah, I just love that we're getting to know Felicia.
All right, well,
Same.
Felicia ultimately is going to be one of the 2 nominations that Bowie is going to make at the end of this episode. It's going to be Felicia and Cirie. There was a couple of awkward moments in this nomination ceremony. All right, so I made my nominations. It's Felicia. It's Cirie. The game is getting down to the pointy end. But then she ends up saying like, and if you don't like these nominations, blame Corey. It's his fault. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Gotcha. Y'all thought that was funny, right? Everybody
They
like,
talked about this seriously after the fact, by the way. They were like, I wonder why it was Corey's fault.
right. They're like, is she serious? Because I mean, at this point, everybody else and their mama didn't called out Corey, and so why not? Look, the Bowie Jane's comedic timing does leave a little something to the to be.
How dare you, Chappell? How dare you?
Look. Remember what was it? So final 7, right? That's us. I was like, Bowie, not right now. They're fighting. The girls are fighting. Chill out. She just, Read the room, Miss Jane. Just a little bit.
Miss Jane.
Okay. And then we get the moment, and then Bowie Jane walks off to the right. And I think it was Matt that was like, wrong direction. And then like this was like such a blooper. Like, oh my God, what an idiot. I can't believe Bowie walked the wrong way. Like, why? I've never even noticed that that's that the HOH must exit stage left, not stage right. What an idiot. Like, do over. Do you even know
I never would have
anything?
noticed.
Like, if she walked the other way, like, I know where that she's returning the key box to. Like, I have the layout of the house. Like, I thought this was a little too cute from production. I'm like, oh, leave that in there. That's hilarious.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because it was just like, they do the like obviously we've seen this so many times. We're obviously on day 60s, whatever, and she's like every other person knew that was the wrong direction. And so it's just like, has she not been at any nomination ceremony?
They're trying to humanize Bowie Jane for us because she's about to win the game. Y'all listen, she has been coming off as a game bot since week 1. All she talks about is strategy. But this time we got to see her having a little fun. She makes some jokes. She goes the wrong way. She's leaning into her DJ side. She's fist pumping in the bathroom.
In Australia, they walk the other way after the nomination ceremony.
Oh, okay. It's cultural. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just saying they're trying to give us a little bit more context to our future winner, Queen effing Bowie Jane.
Okay. Anything else from this episode that we want to highlight before we talk about the weekend from the feeds?
I love the reveal at the end. I love that they were like hiding this from us up until the very end, where Bowie's in the diary room and she says, "Yeah, I mean, between the two of them, Cirie is the one I'm looking at. She's so dangerous in this house. I haven't told a single soul because not a single one of them wants her out, which is why she's dangerous." And that combined with the multiple diary rooms of like, I can't wait for this veto to be used because I want Cam out. I can't wait for it to be used because I want Corey out. And not a single one of them talking about Cirie, which only goes to illustrate her point, but also illustrate the difficulty that she might have in trying to target Cirie. And it was such a ball being dropped in this episode that like, wow, Bowie Jane of all people is the one that has clocked Cirie and the threat that she poses. But can she even really do anything about it?
Nope.
Let's find
out. But
oh, well.
I wanted to point out Blue talking about why she can trust Cirie. Wouldn't this be a perfect moment to be like, well, and she's kind of like my mother-in-law.
She don't know.
She's not allowed to tell a soul.
She doesn't know.
Even the producers?
Even the producers.
Know. She doesn't know. She does not know. I've convinced myself she does not know. She has forgotten.
Knows.
She has forgotten.
She forgot?
She
Wow.
forgot. Blue forgot. She doesn't know.
Maybe she truly thinks that they did not catch that on camera that he told her.
Oh, yeah. So she like hiding it from the features and everything too. Like, yeah.
But does she remember the segment she did where she talked about it in the diary room?
She never confirmed it. She just said, I think it might be Cirie. And now she's lips sealed.
She doesn't.
She's ridiculous.
No.
This was her in the diary room talking about Corey.
Choo-choo. Obviously, I haven't left the Corey train.
Choo-choo.
What is she, Becky? Like what are we doing here?
Or is she
what
Christmas?
Did the announcer say at the beginning? He's like, kitty, kitty, blurted, right?
Yeah.
Rob remembers the choo-choo.
Yeah. She said, I got hit by a train.
Yeah. I think if you give me a second, I'm sure we can
You
find
still
that.
have it?
Yeah, I think I probably have a BB17 soundboard here.
Yeah,
for
welcome to the Corey
I got
train.
hit by a train last year while I was walking.
Watch out, Corey.
Yeah, that is maybe
Becky's conducting.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a difference here between Big Brother now and maybe from Big Brother from what is this, 8 seasons ago? Maybe that they would have humanized Becky getting hit by a train a little bit more.
God forbid what they would have done with Felicia's story about domestic violence. We would have had to like cancel the show. I mean, dear God. They used to make light of everything. Remember that time Victoria got kidnapped by a crow? Or was it a pig?
Yeah, that was terrible. What
I think it was a crow. Yeah,
a pelican. It was something like that. A seagull. Seagull or something.
Thank you.
Yeah. Look, it happens. I liked Blue in this episode. You know, at least at least I know.
Smells on the Blue train. Choo choo.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing.
Choo choo.
Choo choo.
If you're on the train, that means you want him gone.
Yeah, no, I'm not on the train, but I am a fan of Blue knowing what she should be trying to accomplish here. She knows that she can trust Cirie. She knows that she cannot trust Comerica, which does sound like a train system, you know, as well. You know, you go Comerica, you know, transit,
Comerica line.
you know, Comerica transit. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that this is the best Blue content that I've gotten all season that I actually believed in. Not all that like, if I need to get out Jared, then I'm going to do it. Kitty. Like she was lying. But this is authentic Blue, and I like it.
Okay.
Choo-choo.
Let's jump into talking about some of the spoilers from this weekend, because it was a weekend. Okay, exciting stuff. Here we go. Let's talk spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
Yeah, all right. Let's get on the spoiler train. Here we go.
Choo choo.
Choo choo.
All right. Boy.
The TikTokification of public transit is what we really need to talk about. Dang it. Choo choo.
Wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, I drove to Myrtle Beach and back this weekend as my world tour continues. And Taran, I was wide awake listening to the live feed updates from the weekend. What a spicy weekend of feeds.
Spicy indeed, as Matt and Jag turned up the heat on Cameron, trying to convince Bowie to backdoor him with these nominations in place. Bowie was very reluctant, though. She, A, thought it was best for her game to keep Cameron around, and B, didn't feel right betraying him when he hadn't done anything wrong to her. So they started to change their tactics. Corey helped come up with scenarios for why taking Cameron out of the game is actually better for Bowie. That helped convince Bowie, and then Jag came in with the hey, let's be team players, let's fight for the team, and then they let Cam sink his own ship because Bowie was like, well, listen, what all of you guys are saying makes a lot of sense to me, but I just feel wrong about it. If you were to tell me that he's said something about me, maybe we could make this work.
And this was entirely, you did a great job telling this story over the course of the weekend from Saturday. It's kind of a cliffhanger into the Sunday live feed update. Chappell, this was kind of like every episode of Suits where it's like, hey, we need to find some dirt on this person. And then if we could just find some dirt on this person, then we can win the case.
Right. And it's crazy that you bring that up because we do have a Suits podcast here on our network. You know, Rob, suitspodcast.com will give you a daily Suits podcast where we talk about the hottest show on Netflix, Suits. Me and you every day, a recording for every episode. It's a great time. So check us out at suitspodcast.com or tweet us at SuitsPod on Twitter to let us know what you think about the podcast. Come join our Suits family. Go to suitspodcast.com/Facebook to join the conversation. We're having a great time over there. Thanks, Rob.
You know where they wear suits? Love is Blind.
So, Taran, at any point did Jag slam a folder on Bowie Jane's desk?
I think that Jag was, although Matt is the one that claims to have a photographic memory, they were filing it away in their head, all of the various things that Cam has ever said about Bowie. And then basically America felt like, I don't want to deal with Cam anymore. She starts acting weird around Cam. Cam starts to freak out. Did Bowie tell Corey in America that I want Corey backdoored? He brings these suspicions to Jag, who files them away, brings them back to Bowie, slams the folder on the desk, and says, "We've got him, Bowie." And she's like, "All right, let's do it." And the back door is set. They played in the veto. Cam wasn't even chosen for it. Jag wins it. And as of right now, the plan is in place. Cam is going to be backdoored by what was his closest ally.
Okay. And Asia, how about this? Alyssa in the chat says, I had a nightmare last night that Cam was on the next season of Love is Blind.
Oh, boy.
Oh my God.
I think he did say, he's talking about going to Love Island at one point, right?
You
Big
know,
Daddy Cam.
you
Mhm.
sound a lot like my daughter.
Ah!
Um,
Famous last words.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think, that Cam could work in Love is Blind because if you aren't seeing him in the pods, you might not interpret his delivery the
Taran
way
could
it
do the
is when you
voice.
see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Chappell, I thought you had then on Saturday the great GIF representation of the Avengers on Twitter coming together to support this Cam blindside.
Okay, so for y'all here, so y'all know y'all keep up with the feeds too, and Twitter has just been a cesspool. There has been death threats and all kinds of stuff. Sorry, Taran, that was me. But there have been death threats and all kinds of stuff about these fan bases. You got the Comerica stands, you got the Brown Sugar Babes, you got the Fields family, you got I don't know whatever Cam has, and then you got the kitty purrs, and everybody aside from the Cam crew has decided, hey, what if we just put our guns down for a second and just go after Cam? And so, yeah, like the Avengers, everybody is assembling. Choo choo. We're about to take out Cam. Get in, loser. We're about to backdoor Cam. And you don't want to be the only one left out. So we see Comerica stands shaking hands with Cirie defenders. We see people now splitting their avatars in half to where you see Comerica on one side, but then you see Cirie. I've seen fan cams about this moment. This is the most ambitious crossover event of all time. And I'm here for it. I'm sorry. It needs to happen. About Bowie Jane, why you're allowing this to happen is beyond me. But go for it, because as y'all know, I'm here for Cirie, and that's it.
Can we get a meme of all of the fandoms getting onto a train with Becky as the conductor, and it's the Cam train?
In the caption
Yeah.
says, "Get in,
Or
loser."
how about this? Or that maybe it's Cam's face on Becky's body getting hit by the train.
That's dark.
Then you got Steve Moses going, "Oh, thank God, Becky, get out of here. Get out of here, Cameron."
I got hit by a train last year while I was walking.
Okay. Now, Taran, you left the live feed update. Like, now there's still hope. There's still a chance Cam could get into the room alone with Bowie Jane today. It's not a done deal. The veto ceremony has not happened.
Yeah, I said,
He
listen,
did get
he might figure it out. He might have a chance.
12 hours ago.
To fight for his life. Do I think he has the tools to be able to successfully fight for his life? No, but he'll have the opportunity potentially, and he did kind of have the opportunity. And no, he did not have the tools to save his life. It's very much still happening. He did not do very well.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Which is wild. It is wild that you can't go to your number one ally and say, I am never putting you on the block, ever. If Cirie and Felicia cannot say that to you confidently, they probably should be able to at this point, but I've never betrayed you. I don't want you out of the game. You are my number one ally. I have no one else. People want me to be a pair with Blue. I'm a pair with you, and that's it. There's no reason why that shouldn't work with Cirie, who has now been targeted by you, Felicia, who has been targeted by you, and they're sitting there like you are about to leave two potential enemies off the block. And why? Why? Because
she's like, but Matt and Jag, I love them.
Jag for the team, but for the team, what team? Is that what was that? Remember the Titans? Yeah. It's so asinine that you would leave Felicia and Cirie, after you have already identified that this is my biggest threat to winning the game, no one else is saying Bowie Jane's name. No one is saying her name. This is incredible. What a flop.
Okay, so what does Cam think is going to happen tomorrow, Taran?
He's worried. He was pitching for the veto to be used because he really wanted Corey to be backdoored. But lately, today, there's been a lot of vagary around the veto. Jag is talking about like, maybe I'll use it. Bowie saying, I think he's gonna use it. And he's like, well, what's gonna happen? I mean, maybe we shouldn't use it. You're not gonna put me up, right? Like, I would be a bad pawn if Jag were to use it against your wishes. So at this point, Cameron's starting to get into defense mode of like, maybe we should just not use the veto at all. And he doesn't know for sure what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah.
There's a good moment on the feed, y'all, where Cam goes to Bowie Jane and is like, look, I protected you all this time. And Bowie Jane's like, you actually haven't protected me. He's like, yeah, I have.
To be protected.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need to be carried, bro. You know, and he's like, but I haven't put you up. He's like, and you weren't going to because I'm the queen, Bowie Jane. Get into it. And I was like, okay, BJ. But then it's also, why are you getting rid of him? He just told you. He's always been loyal to you to some extent. And he has no reason to think he can't beat you, ma'am. But he probably can't. So get rid. Why are you getting rid of him?
I think this train, like, to continue the train has left the station. Like, it's like for Cameron to be clued in
Choo-choo
at this point is a little too late. But I do think that something that could have helped him a little bit is if Matt and Jag were also in on that conversation. If he had the chops to figure something out to say, look, this is our 4, this is how we move forward, and give reasons why they need him in the house to go after Corey in America. But to just talk to Bowie, like that was not anything going to happen.
So, Taran, let me just circle back with everything you've been talking about Bowie Jane. I don't disagree with anything you've said about how she's run her HOH and she's been methodical and she's identified Cirie as the biggest target in the house. But do you feel like, was this ultimately a mistake from Bowie Jane to get into this position to be the HOH and then target a player who was not ever coming for her?
I don't think it was a mistake to get into this position. As I said before,
to equivocate to the will of the house to take out a player who was not coming for her.
That's the big question, because I think taking out Cirie would have been fine. Taking out Blue even would have been fine. The question is, like, could she have gotten away with that without sacrificing her position? I mean, the fact of the matter is, she can take Cam out of the game and still be in a fantastic spot. At the very least, in between two pairs, with Felicia and Cirie still kind of wanting to work with her, with Blue still having plenty of other problems to deal with before she can do anything. She's still locked into at least the final 5, probably, with more chances to win, more chances to take more shots, especially with Cam out of the game, even more chances to win. So there is some validity, some merit to the move. That said, I think a huge part of this is, what will the perception of this be? Will it look like Jag and Matt ran her HOH? Because that's what it kind of seems like to people watching at this point. Or will it look like she made this move? Or will, because it will probably look like this at first, at least, will it look like Corey ran her HOH? Because Corey's going to take a lot of blame.
Corey!
She said it herself.
I'm not kidding.
Yes.
It absolutely looks like they convinced her to do something that was not in her best interest. And Cam will go into the jury house thinking that as well.
Yeah.
He's going to always say, I was never coming for you. So when he gets the vote, he's going to look at Bowie Jane as somebody, if they're sitting next to a Matt, a Corey, a Jag. Like, I could have saved us. We could have ran this. That person wouldn't be sitting next to you. And now to punish you for getting rid of me for making a bad move, which is how we see votes placed all the time, I am not going to vote for you. And I am going to tell people that you were a pawn to all these other people. Getting out Cam, someone who can win the veto and save you, as well as win the HOH and target your targets, is, to me, Not the greatest move to make right now, when you could have either come in from the moment you won HOH and said, that's what I want to do, or you could have come in and just done it. But to get swayed, to make people see that as their move, I think that's a net negative.
Is it confirmed
This
if
is not fair.
It's not. Is it confirmed if Jag's using the veto on Cirie or Felicia?
So Jag and Matt wanted to use it on Cirie, but Cirie has volunteered to stay on the block, to have it used on Felicia instead. And so that has since been somewhat locked in, that now the veto will be used on Felicia due to Cirie's own wishes, that Cirie will stay up on the block against Cam.
My girl tired, y'all. She's tired.
She's tired.
She's tired, y'all.
But okay, so I do think that does set up this interesting scenario where I feel like if Cam was up on the block against Felicia, like lock it in, Cam is going home. But at some point, as the campaign rolls on, and not that I think that he's going to necessarily be such an effective campaigner. I mean, do people say, like, hey, hold on a second, Cirie's on the block. What the frickin' hell? Shouldn't we take out Cirie? Especially if Bowie is potentially pushing people in that direction.
I think specifically for Corey in America, because Cameron does have information to drop on on Matt and Jag, the fugitives. They've already talked about how they're going to try to get out of that. But basically, if Cameron can successfully convince Corey that Matt and Jag are not the friends that he thinks they are, all of the things they've said about him, that not only are they more threatening to him than he thought, but maybe they're an existential threat. Maybe they're an immediate threat. And if Corey really wants to survive in the game, he's going to need Cam as a shield and a weapon to use against Matt and Jag moving forward.
And this is an interesting week because there's 9 people in the House, which means that there's 6 people voting, which means it would only take 3 people to send it back to the HOH. Wouldn't that be interesting and not boring for Bowie Jane to have to make a tie-breaking vote on this HOH?
The problem is
the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes, the problem is if both Matt and Jag are the recipients of this pitch, right? They're not going to be voting for Cam. Blue is going to be very reluctant to vote out her mother-in-law, and Felicia is the other vote. Felicia would also have to vote against Cirie, which there's a world where Blue finds more value in Cam theoretically, but she'd have to vote with Corey. It'd be very strange. Felicia also doesn't have a lot of incentive to keep Cam around instead of Cirie right now. Maybe she's like, oh, I can run to the end of the game with Cam. Like, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And even if they do get one of those votes, they would also need Bowie to flip from Matt and Jag, which is a huge ask at this point. So it's a tall order to do it that way. The easier way, of course, is to convince Matt and Jag to turn back around on the decision that they've spent so much time and effort into making. The pitch there would be like, hey, Corey and America are the big threats, but that's what Cam has been pitching this whole time. Maybe if he can link Corey and Blue and say, hey, Corey and Blue are no longer enemies. They're both coming for you. You need me. There's something there. But again, that means that now Matt and Jag need that third vote. And where do they get that? It's, again, Felicia or Blue. And it's a tough road. It's not impossible, but it's definitely tough.
Okay. Exciting stuff going into this interesting second half of the week coming up. Anything else from the BB25 multiverse tonight?
Can we just talk about how impressive it is that Cirie lasted this long this is her first time on the block? It's wild.
Super impressive. Yeah, and I've really been impressed with, this post-Jared game. I thought that she had a good shot to be able to get under the radar, and I know she is going into potentially being on the block on Thursday night. But I do think, coming away from this, if she can sort of be like, hey, I'm a block star, like, I'm not a threat, like, I have nothing, I think that this does really help carve out a path for her to reach the end game.
Yeah, they care a lot about who's been winning competitions, and Cirie can very much stand on the I ain't winning nothing, and so that could carry her a long way, especially with someone like Matt who thinks that she's in his pocket, So when he starts to whittle down his potential opposition, then she's probably in a decent spot if she survives this. Now, Cirie is tired. She want to go. She's like, hey, listen, if I go to the jury house, I go to the jury house. But I've told everyone that I know, don't go play Big Brother. It's not fun. It's not a fun game. This is a game where people go in and they end up miserable and they hate each other, and then they come out of the house and then they get yelled at by a bunch of people who don't know them. You don't have to do this. And so Cirie did it. I'm happy that she had a great time. Mama, I love you. But if your time to go into jury house and chill, go in the jury house and chill. But if not, stay here, keep studying, and try to win this game, because I would love to see it. If Cirie wins this game, y'all are going to be sick of me.
Yeah, I mean, Cirie wanted to leave like 40 days ago. When she was in power and her son and best friends were in the house. Now her son is gone, her friends are gone, and it's 40 days later, and she still really wants out. Like, she does not enjoy being there, which doesn't make her like less talented when she does play. Like, she's still, it's sort of like if she was in a duel right now, like a sword duel. She's like not even looking and deflecting like blows away. But she's not looking. She's not really putting in her best effort right now. She's still fairly set to get to the end game and have a chance at winning despite that. But this is definitely not like what you would, I think, expect from Cirie in terms of like super high tier level of gameplay at this point.
I'm just surprised because that it was one thing when I thought, okay, she has a chance just to go back. Hey, I could be in my own bed tomorrow. Okay, let me get out of here. But she's gonna go sit in the jury house. I might as well, have a shot to be in this thing than to go sit in the jury house.
You'd better bet there's going to be some negotiations about like, you sure I can't leave?
Yeah. Well, that would really throw the jury into turmoil if she did ultimately walk out from.
I don't think she would, but
No.
I think that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'd prefer the jury house right now to the actual.
Because then she doesn't have to deal with what she's been saying is like all the fakeness, and she'd be done with the game.
Well, it might be nice for a little bit, but then all the people that she doesn't want to be around are going to be showing up at the jury house.
But at least they won't be being fake for the game.
She can ignore them. She can just like do her own thing.
Right. Yeah. She is through gritted teeth, literally, just like, hey, Bowie Jane, don't put me on the block, even though she'd rather just be like, Bowie Jane, don't talk to me. Same thing with Cameron, same thing with Jack. Like, there's so many people in the house that have pissed her off to where she's like, oh, I'm good. This is not an indictment on Cirie to me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Like, going to play Big Brother does nothing for Cirie's legacy as far as like harming it. It can only improve it for me. Sorry, I'm just that kind of biased. Get over it. And so if she wins the game, I'll say she's the greatest player ever. And if she loses, I'll say she ain't care no way. Because guess what? She don't.
And these are also the people that, like, remember, in her mind, these are the people that ruined her son's dream. Like, like this is like it's important to remember. Like the huge mental toll that having him in there took on her, and then leaving in the way that he did, and like the people responsible now running the game, like it's on top of the fact that she was not enjoying it in the first place. Like, this is definitely not, I think, what she thought she was signing up for.
Okay. All right. And let's leave it there. As Sam is telling me in the chat, fun fact, we are officially 1 month away from the finale. November 9th, we will crown a winner of Big Brother 25. So we're just but 31 days away from the finale of the show. All right, let's talk about what else is up here on RHAP on, what was it, Wednesday night?
Yes.
But 5 days ago, I was in New York City with Chappell and with Aysha and with a bunch of amazing Survivor panelists. If you haven't watched the video or listened to the podcast, check out our live show there from NYC. I also want to shout out Marianne and Shannon, who hosted the Know It Gals from Wednesday night. Did a great job of filling in for Steven and I. That was a very fun podcast as well. Did a great job there. Check that out. All at RHAPhasawebsite.com. If you like live shows in between now and that finale, I'm going to be live here, I believe, with everybody that's on the panel tonight.
Yes, Rob.
And so we will be together once again, as we are going to be for 2 nights for Survivor and for Big Brother in Brea, California. For ticket information, if you saw all the pictures, we're going to have fun there as well. robhasawebsite.com/SurvivorLA. Got a huge lineup of survivors coming to that show. And then robhasawebsite.com/BBLA for that. And of course, patrons, you have a discount ticket codes available on Patreon. Then on the Amazing Race this week, Jess and Mike got together as I was still recovering from the live show for a fun episode 2 of the Amazing Race as the teams raced through Thailand. Check that out up at robhasawebsite.com. As we mentioned earlier here tonight, if you like seeing people dig up dirt and bring it back to people in power, check out Suits, and then listen to Chappell and I every single day over at suitspodcast.com as we are rolling along in season 4 of our Suits watch over on Suits Yourself. Then, Aysha, how are things going over on Love is Blind?
Ooh, it's a mess. It is a mess. This week, Mary and I are joined by Jason Reed and Isaiah. This is their 3rd season in a row joining us to talk about Love is Blind. So it makes for some very interesting discussion, especially with all the varying opinions. But we are down to 2 couples going to the altar. So, or making it to the altar. So we will see with episode 10 how everything transpires. But it's been a very drama-filled season. It's not one of those seasons where if you're looking for a happily ever after that you should watch.
That's fine. Sounds not boring.
Time to tap in. Time to get on the train.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Check out Aysha and Mary talking about Love is Blind. Of course, we've got a ton going on Patreon, including tomorrow morning. I'll be talking with Shannon Gus on the weekly Cirie recap. I heard from so many people that they love listening to Shannon talk about Big Brother for the first time. And so we will be doing that. Not to mention, I'll be having the slop coming up on Tuesday. Taran and I do the Big Brother Q&A on Fridays. I've got a Survivor Q&A going on as well. Just one of the many things going on when you become a part of our patron community at robhasawebsite.com/patron. And then you can subscribe to all of our podcasts for free at robhasawebsite.com/subscribe. And then for the latest in what's going on in Big Brother, Taran will be back with you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So be on the lookout for that. Aysha, what else is coming up for you?
Yeah, so in addition to Love is Blind, Married at First Sight premieres October 18th. So Jason Reed and I will be back over on our podcast called A Perfect Match to talk about some Married at First Sight. This has been our longest hiatus since we talked about season 16 in July, but season 17 premieres October 18th. So very excited to talk about it with Jason. So you can find the Love is Blind coverage and the Perfect Match coverage over on the Love at First Sight feed. So yeah, you can follow me at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA, and I'll tweet about whatever else is coming up.
Okay. Well,
yes? Sorry, one more thing. Over on Pill Show Recaps, Mari Forth and I talked about the other Black girl over on the Connect. The other Black girl came on Hulu, and we covered the entire season, and it's such a good show. So make sure you go check out the show and check out the podcast.
Okay, well, Aysha, you made the right decision to jump over from the football game to talk about Big Brother with us tonight.
Did they come back? I wasn't keeping up.
Oh yeah, it got real close.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Great job, Aysha. Chappell, what else is coming up for you?
Well, also on the Connect, as Aysha just mentioned, Mari and I are talking about The Changeling. And so check that out on Apple TV Plus. And then, of course, follow the Connect on Post Show Recaps wherever you get your podcasts so that you can keep up with the coverage. We're on YouTube, too. So go to youtube.com/Post Show Recaps and look at our playlist for the Connect. You'll see Aysha, you'll see me, you'll see Mari. It's a lot of fun over there, and we're having a great time talking about all those shows. Also on Post Show Recaps, I'm talking about The Walking Dead. We're wrapping up The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, me, AJ Mass, Jessica Leese, and Josh Wiglet. One more episode to go, and then we're moving on to Fear the Walking Dead. More of The Walking Dead to come. It's crazy. It's like it never ends. Check it out on Post Show Recaps. It's like Big Brother. Yep, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, check it out over there on postshowrecaps.com as well. As you said, the Suits podcast is coming on strong with season 4. You have time to jump in because we're only doing 1 episode a day. So if you're a binger, come binge, come hang out with us. It's a great time over there on suitspodcast.com. On robhasawebsite.com, you can see Sasha and I are talking about Below Deck. Last week I was in New York hanging out with Rob and Aysha, but I will be back to talk about Below Deck Med with Sasha this week. Thank you to Jason O for sitting in for me while I was out. And then Rob and I are coming back with another episode of Nothing But Netflix, our podcast where we talk about Netflix shows every week. And it will be episode 100 this week, Rob.
And we need a good recommendation.
We need a good recommendation, and I expect a gift. And a very expensive gift. Because we've made
We're
it. It's our
exchanging
anniversary.
gifts.
You're exchanging gifts. And so because of that, check out Nothing But Netflix to see what Rob gets me for our 100th episode. And I believe that's it. Follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show to keep up with all the things that I have going on Twitter. I'll tweet it out. You'll see it.
Okay. All right. Great job, Chappelle. Always love having you here for the recap. And then Taran, what's coming up for you?
Come hang out with me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. I'm watching these episodes live with all of you, and Survivor as well on Wednesday nights. It's a good time. And you can find climbing stuff on Instagram, tweets on Twitter, and Big Brother podcasts.
All right. Well,
Rob,
yeah.
I'm on Twitch now. I be twitching.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Twitch.tv/Chappelle's_show. It's a party. I've done it twice now. There's no VODs. There's no proof. We got to get rid of the evidence. It's not that kind of party. Not like Taran and Aysha. They got a nice professional ship going over there. We are not that ship. It's ghetto. It gets ghetto on Chappelle's_show. So follow me on Twitch as well.
Okay.
I will also be talking about the Wheel of Time finale on post-show recaps. If you want to check that out, I'll be recording that tomorrow, so it should be out fairly soon.
Okay. All right. Get on the Chappelle Twitch hype train.
Choo choo.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.